Radio. And if you're in business, your potential new customers could be listening too. So talk to them.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio.
Salam alaikum, good evening, and welcome back to the Property Wise Property Show. I'm your host, Kieron Bateman, and we are here live for you this evening, talking all things property and mindset. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love for you guys to get in touch. Let us know what you think about what we're talking about. You can call the studio on 01733 602 133. You can text us on 07411 191 062. Or you can comment on any of our live streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And as a surprise and as a treat for you all, fresh in, back from Pakistan, live in the studio, the man himself, the myth, the legend, my friend and mentor, Mr. Shaz Nawaz. How are you, my friend?
Very good, thank you, Kieron. How are you?
I am all the better for having seen you.
Likewise.
It's good to have you back, my friend.
It's good to be back.
It's good to see you in the studio again.
I like being here and nice weather. What more can I ask for?
Well, I mean, you did bring the sun back with you, didn't you?
I tried my best. I mean, it was between 40 and 42 degrees. We're not quite there yet, but...
I mean, we're getting close.
We're kind of. We're about 25, 28, aren't we? But we'll get there.
Yeah, we will. We'll absolutely get there. And so this week on the Property Wise show, we are going to talk a little bit about mindset. We're going to do our mindset session first, and then we'll talk a bit about property.
There's a surprise.
There's a surprise. There's a shock. So this week, what do we think? Think about changing your mind. So
Sounds like hard work, that does, changing my mind.
well, I mean, it's just another fancy way of saying I had an idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, to your mind, what are the key components as to why people should be more open to changing their minds in terms of their mindset, in terms of how it helps them, how it benefits them?
I think very simply speaking, there are usually, and I'd probably be a bit more bold and say, always better ways of doing things. And if you have a closed mindset, or you're from the world where I've seen it all, I've done it all, I know how the world works, blah, 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 then you're less likely to adopt new ideas, new technology, new ways of doing things. So you're going to lose out. And if you have an open mindset to learning, improving, seeing things differently, understanding you don't know everything, understanding you don't know what you don't know, so on and so forth, then it's going to help you to broaden your horizons.
So, I mean, is that a bit like, you know, the old soldier on the bench?
Yes, it is. That's the one, yep.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, the soldier on the bench, new captain starts at his new post at a barracks, and as he's wandering through the barracks, he wanders past two soldiers standing guard at a bench. And he asks them what they're doing there. They said, standing guard so nobody sits on the bench. Okay. Why are you doing that? Orders, sir. Okay. And he thinks about this for a while and goes away. He goes and finds his commanding officer and is like, the soldiers standing guard making sure no one sits on the bench. Why? Oh, well, it's what we've always done. There's always been soldiers there standing guard making sure no one sits on the bench. So, I don't know what to tell you. It just is. All right. So he does a bit more research and he finds the old commander, the old captain, and tracks him down again. So, do you remember the bench with the soldiers standing guard, making sure no one sits on the bench? Yep. Why? No idea. It was like that before my time. There's always been soldiers there standing guard, stopping people from sitting on that bench. Oh. Well, who was in charge before you? He finds out and he goes and tracks them down.
Gets the chief of staff, does he, after a while?
Gets to the person that is now an old man. He says, the bench, two soldiers standing up, making sure nobody sits on it. Why? Yeah. We did that 60 years ago because we just freshly painted the bench. Why are they still there?
Because that's how we've always done it.
And that is the danger of a closed mind. You do things, you don't always know why you're doing them.
Two really good ones I used to get a lot when I used to do a lot of business growth consultations. Number one, every time you share an idea, my business is different. That was the number one excuse reason, but my business is different. Okay? The second one was, but we've always done it this way. When you ask why, most people couldn't explain, but we've always done it this way and it works. But it doesn't work because you've called me in because you've got a problem and you want it to be fixed. If it was working for you, you wouldn't have me in here, would you?
No, exactly that, yeah. And I do like that's the but my business is different. Really?
Yeah.
From the 10 million other businesses that...
And then I used to say, so you don't have a marketing function, don't have a sales function, don't have an operations function, don't have a finance function, don't have some form of a HR function, some kind of a customer service function, whether you see them like that or not, but you don't have those functions. I do. Well, guess what? So does everybody else. So your business does like everybody else's. You might be selling something differently, you might be packaging it differently, but, okay, we can debate about that. Your business does like everybody else's because you put those functions.
Yeah, and after 3,000 plus growth consultations, you kind of sat there going, I've seen this once or twice before.
Yeah.
And chances are I know what I'm talking about.
But that was the best one. But my business is different.
And but's such a closed.
It's a beautiful word, isn't it? Beautiful word. I love it.
It is a beautiful word, but it's also a very closed word, a very, very dismissive word. Shaz, what about this? Yes. But what about we do it this way because I don't really care about what you thought? Okay. And it very much shuts
well,
people
nothing
down.
Before the word but really
matters,
does it?
You're a really nice guy. I really appreciate everything you've done. You're really hardworking, but...
It's one of the few words in the English language, which is vast, as you know, which changes the meaning of the whole thing that you're saying with the words you used after but.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you say before it. Everything that matters comes after.
You change the whole meaning, yeah? You're fantastic, blah, blah. You turn up on time, you do good work, we appreciate you, you've been with us for so long. But...
We're going to have to let you go. Oh,
well, that's not funny, but yeah.
So you don't appreciate me, and you don't. Suddenly, it makes everything that you said before either feel like a lie, even if it wasn't. It makes it feel.
They're just making it easy for themselves.
Yeah.
To make you feel a bit better, until the butt comes in.
Yeah.
But there you go.
But yeah, so there's that, and though. The polar opposite of but.
Well, it connects the words, the sentence, the meaning, or the phrases, or what you're using.
You're fantastic, and
you could be even better.
Yeah, it's a more open, open word, and though changing that one word from but to and changes your entire vocabulary, changes the entire way you speak to people, the entire way you think about people, and that one small change changes so many other things. So imagine how changing an entire mindset can change your entire life.
Absolutely.
Rather than yes, Shaz, but I can't really do that today. It's down. Yes, Shaz. And when we accomplish that, and when we've achieved that, and success, principle, positivity, growth, going forwards. All the nice fun words.
What's more to ask for?
I know. Well, I mean, I could also ask for a winning lottery ticket. No?
Next week. Ask me next week.
I'm
too busy this week.
Okay.
I would, but
I'm busy this week. I'm washing. I'd love to go out, but I'm washing my hair. It's good to have you back in the studio.
Good to be back, mate.
So, another thing that will help you change your mindset, and from a fixed mindset where you are where you are, and that's it, to a more open mindset, is listening to podcasts like this will help your mindset, because there are many mindset based podcasts out there that are really, really good, really influential people doing them, and they will help guide you on your journey. But developing a routine. Now, I know that sounds odd, because developing a physical routine throughout your day, what's that got to do with mindset, Shaz?
Everything, because how we do one thing is how we do everything.
Oh yeah, but if I make sure I get up at 7 and go to the gym every day, and get up at 7, go to the gym, finish the gym, go to work, come home, have a healthy meal, finish my healthy meal, read a book, go to bed, work on my own personal development, or a side job, a new business, a venture idea, something like that, or I drag my ass out of bed and crawl into the shower, make sure I'm clean for the day, half asleep, get into the car, skip the gym because that's too much like hard work. I can't be bothered this morning. Then all right, I'll get to work. I'll do my job. But I haven't had my second coffee yet. And
Or you Weetabix.
B556 fix. I've had my Weetabix. And then your work day takes another hour to get started properly because you're still half asleep fundamentally.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
Then you're watching the clock until the day's end, and as soon as the day's end,
What a wonderful life that is, eh?
It's 5 o'clock. Time to go home. All right, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna order some takeaway because I can't be bothered to eat. I can't be bothered to cook. Okay, so I'm having a bit of unhealthy. Yeah, I know it's unhealthy, but it's quick. It's easy. Which life would you prefer?
Well, the first thing I'd say to you, Kieran, is how's that plan working out for you?
Which one?
That one. If that was you, which it obviously isn't. Do you know what I mean? That's the first place to start. And the second place to start when you talk to people about routine, and I'll link this with my part of my previous life and experience in terms of business consulting, was when you talk to people about, what's your sales process? Oh, I don't have a sales process. Okay. You sure? Yes, I am. So what do you do when you're going through sales? And they'll talk to you about, I see a prospect and we do this. So you do have a process. People don't understand whatever they're doing is their process. It might not be the process that they want, but it's their process. Same with routine. Whatever you do, however you do it, whether it's the example that you've shared, or people doing different things, whether they go for a walk, jog, meditation, whatever else. Okay, the star jumps in the morning, whatever. Okay, rocks their boat, which is fine. But that's their routine. If that routine isn't working out for them for some reason, or it's not giving them the results that they ought to get, then what they got to appreciate is they do have a routine. It's not the right routine for them for what they're looking to achieve. So let's change the routine. People say, I don't have a routine. You have a routine because there's something you do regularly every single day, pretty much every single week.
Yeah.
From when you wake up to whether you brush your teeth first, or you have a coffee first, or you go for a jog first, or you have a cigarette first, whatever people do. Different people do different things, okay? But that's your routine.
Yeah, right the way down to when your alarm goes off. If your alarm goes off, do you hit the snooze or do you stop and get up? Which do you do?
That's a routine.
That's a routine.
Yeah.
If you routinely, and the clue is in the name, do you routinely press the snooze button for the next half an hour before you know, all right, if I don't get up now, I'm going to be late?
Yep.
And I've yet to meet someone that enjoys being late, but I've met plenty of people that accept that they're always late.
Yeah, I'm just late. Yeah, I know. But what can we do? Because if you start talking about late, I'll be here for a long time and we won't get past the soapboxes, because we're sticklers for being on time more often than not. And seldom are we late, by the way, as you know.
If it starts at 9, by the time 9 o'clock hits, you're already
You better
late.
be there. You better be good to go. But what are some of the things you think people can do to change, let's say, their morning routine?
I think...
And some people might be doing this as they're listening to this right now, or at some point in the near future. But for those who are thinking, well, what else can I do apart from waking up and having a coffee or a tea or my cereal or whatever?
I think people get this idea stuck in their head that they need to make radical changes to make any change at all. And in my world, in my opinion, that's the wrong way to look at things.
Asking for too much, isn't it?
It's too much in too short a space of time. It's got to be gradual. You can't go from, hitting the snooze button 5 times from a 7 a.m. alarm and getting out of bed at 8 o'clock to get in the shower, have a coffee, get in the car, go to work. You can't suddenly go, okay, I'm going to set my alarm for 6. I'm I'm going to get up. I'm going to have an hour and a half in the gym. So I finish the gym at 7:30, which still means that I'm still done before I would normally get out of bed. So I've still got half an hour to play with. I'm then going to go and get my coffee, and then I'm going to, have my shower, have my coffee, get to work on, and then I'm going to be at work 10 minutes earlier than I would have been before, which is fantastic. And suddenly I'm going to have so much more energy, and that's going to be great. And it's too much. It's too much. If you are in the snooze club, set your alarm 15 minutes later than you normally would, but don't allow yourself to snooze.
Or do what I do. I don't think that's right. My watch is always 15 minutes ahead.
That too.
Yeah. So then I just stick. And I know it's 15 minutes ahead, but I just stick to that being the time. So I try my best to arrive 15 minutes early.
Yeah, but if you're not used to having changed anything, and you want to change one thing, learn to get up when the alarm goes off. It may seem like a really, really small thing and inconsequential, but I promise you it will change your entire day, because if you're used to snoozing, it takes a lot of discipline, self-discipline, to hit that stop button, not roll over and go back to sleep, and get up.
So we're up now. What are some of the things we can do?
Personally, for me, bit of exercise. 10 push-ups, if you can manage 10 push-ups, 5 push-ups, whatever. Quick run around the block. Or, if you're lucky enough to have a garden, a couple of laps of the garden, run up and down, run up and down. If you don't have that, stairs, or just go out for a 5-minute walk, come back, then shower, obviously put appropriate clothing on, but, don't just get out of bed.
We're all
and walk out
adults.
from-
Actually, what's popular, but a lot of people that I talk to tell me they do, which works well for them, cold showers.
Cold showers are fantastic. I love a cold shower.
Energy, wakes them up,
Yep.
good for their body, recovery, all the other benefits, okay?
And go online and look at the benefits of cold shower.
Yeah, absolutely. Meditation. A
Meditation.
lot of people do meditation in the morning,
And-
calms them down.
And what I find interesting about meditation, because I meditate in the shower. I like to use waterfall meditation, but that's just something that I found that works. I can meditate in a shower. Great, fine, it works for me. It wakes me up, it clears my head, it gets me ready for the day. But people, I think in general, and I am generalizing here, I admit that, have a misunderstanding of what meditation is. It's not, sat in the middle of nowhere with your legs
With your legs crossed, yeah. And your hands together
and
and
your hands going,
sing Om or whatever, yeah.
yeah. No, close your eyes, and this is, people say clear your mind. Really? No, don't clear your mind. Close your eyes. Think of a field, a beach, somewhere that brings you calm. Just imagine that place. Now focus on your breathing. Just focus on breath in, breath out. Count to 15.
Yeah, calms you down.
Count to 15. Congratulations, you've just meditated.
Yeah.
And
It works. No, you're right, yeah.
And I'm serious.
Yeah, no, it does. You're right.
Take yourself mentally to a place that's calming. Count to 15, focusing and thinking only about how you are breathing.
And there's loads of us, different techniques
Yeah.
to meditate. So that works well. Some people I speak to like to read, whether it's a holy book, whether it's a book that inspires them, a new book, a magazine, a journal, newspaper, whatever people like. But a lot of people, not a lot, quite a few people I know, most cold showers, meditation, by the way, but there are some who read in the morning. And what's interesting is that then whatever they've read, they take at least something from that and adopt that for the day. And they find that's very helpful to them as well.
Yeah. I can completely see that. I'm not an early morning reader. I'm a late night reader. I'd rather read into the evening.
I thought you liked watching stuff,
Or
YouTube or whatever.
I love YouTube. I'm big fan of YouTube. Or audiobooks. Because invariably, but Shaz, I don't have time to read a book.
Or don't like reading or can't read or whatever because they're dyslexic or whatever the reason might be.
Yeah.
So there's other options. You're right.
Audiobook.
So we've got 3 there plus the exercise. 4.
Yeah.
We got a 5th one for people, Kieran. If not, I'll give you one now. Which works incredibly well. is two linked together, involve writing. One is a thank you note to somebody in your life, wherever they are.
And a journal.
Okay. And the second one is a journal. Write down the things you are grateful for. And the people who do this consistently, thank you note and or journal for the things that they're grateful for, do it consistently for a number of weeks and months. It just lifts them and just transforms them as a person. Because being grateful by thanking people in their lives, because there's people we don't talk to for days, weeks, months, years, okay, and just sending them a note to say thank you because you did X for me, that's helped me, or just to thank them for being in your life. So therapeutic.
It is therapeutic, but I would also go one stage further and say that it's happy catharsism. I defy you to write a thank you note and be angry about it. I defy anyone. Thank you for
nothing.
Yeah, you just don't. You know, hey, Shaz, just wanted to thank you for meeting up for that coffee yesterday. I really needed a chat. It was really good. Thank you. Well, go on. Feel angry about that.
I know.
You can't. So it puts you in a better place for the rest of the day.
So that's 5 good things people have got. And there are many others, by the way. We're not going to run through every single one because we want to cover at the bit. Because I know you prepared thoroughly for this,
as
like
always.
a good guy.
And just remember, happiness is infectious.
Absolutely.
Which I think is just such a fabulous thing. And on the back of, And
at the same time, with writing up, I think it's also important, Kieron, but when people write down their goals or their priorities in life, revisit them in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to focus you, remind you what's really important in your life, whether it's your spouse, your children, your family, your business, whatever it is, your pet, your car, whatever. Different people have to have different, your hobby, your ambition. People in your life.
It's not for anyone else to judge what
exactly.
is important to you.
Yeah. So revisit those priorities so you make sure you're on track. Because we all go off track often enough.
Yeah. And I mean, we sidetrack a lot. And we both know we
That's
do that.
your fault, isn't it?
Well,
You always
I will take accountability for it.
Yeah, you open that corridor on the left, don't you? And say, here you go. Look what's in here. And then before you do, I'm
We're going down
kid
the
in a
rabbit
sweet shop. Let's go down that rabbit hole or down that corridor.
Yeah.
You trip me up, don't you naughty boy?
I know. But speaking of naughty boys, monologuing.
Yeah.
Everyone's got an internal monologue that tells them who they are, tells them what they're good at, what they're bad at. But for a lot of people, this internal monologue can be very negative and very self-destructive. Yeah. Oh, that didn't work because I'm rubbish. Because I couldn't do it. What made you think you could do that? Well, focus a little bit on, on average, I think there are between 5 and 10 loops that you have that go on inside your internal monologue. And this is something that meditation does really, really help with. If you can alter just one of them to improve the way you think about yourself and the way that you talk about what you do for yourself, then you're a whole stage closer to other things than everyone else.
Yep. And then there's other things, let's raise people's awareness so they can obviously go and research.
Yeah, 100%.
Is keep a folder or a box or a book of words that encourage you, so things you've done for people that gives you happiness and joy, whether it's with your family, your colleagues, your clients, your patients, your customers, and just to remind you that life's not all that bad and you're doing some really good stuff, because we all have our ups and downs. When you've got downs, that's going to lift you up.
And I mean, something that I do with that is when someone tells me that, I've been a terrible human being, or I've done something bad or something like this, or they don't like me for whatever reason, I remind myself that I have been best man for friends and family 11 times now in my life. 11 times someone has thought that
They had nobody else, so they chose you.
they had nobody else, so they chose me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know.
But you know what I mean?
That's right.
And that makes me go, actually, I'm not a worthless individual.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
I do have something to give.
Alongside that, which is obviously a really good example, food evaluation, your food intake, what you're taking in, okay, how that's impacting you. You've also got spending time with nature, going for a walk. People go for a walk, absolutely love it, with different people. If you have a pet or a dog, you can obviously take them for a walk. And then there's different types of mindset. And a growth mindset really is when things go wrong, they look for an opportunity to grow. They believe they have the potential to see every problem as a challenge as opposed to a problem. So having an open growth mindset, feedback, okay, is the breakfast of champions. That take feedback on, as opposed to saying, this is somebody being critical, okay?
Yep.
This is somebody helping me to improve, showing me a better way. And the best one, as you know, that I like is, whatever situation you're in, this is a gift. What can I learn from it?
What can I learn from it? Every day's a school day.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And on that crushing epiphany, we're about to head into a break, and we'll see you just after the break for the property side, the Property Wise show.
See you shortly.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Fancy the true taste of Middle Eastern Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU. Or order through Just Eat, Uber Eats or order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
Attention foodies! Discover a world of flavours at Pack Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket in Peterborough. Shop our vast selection of authentic ingredients from around the globe, including spices, marinated fish and meats, and exotic fruits at incredibly low prices. And the best part? We offer free parking. No more hunting for a spot. Come visit us today and explore the incredible range of flavours at Pack Foods, 232 Lincoln Road.
Bite into something wonderfully tasty at Big Mouth, 349 Lincoln Road in Peterborough. Eating in, for takeaway or delivery, Big Mouth now have a delicious new menu full of all your favourites. Crispy fried chicken, juicy smashed burgers, finger-licking peri-peri chicken, handmade pizzas, quality doner meat and so much more. So visit the family-friendly Big Mouth restaurant for fantastically fresh food. Call 01733 201020 or visit getbigmouthonline.com.
Could you spare a few hours each month to provide support to people who are going through tough times? If so, Peterborough Samaritans are looking for volunteers who are empathetic and open-minded, and we'd love to hear from you. We run regular information sessions where you can find out more about what it means to volunteer for Samaritans. If you are at least 18 years of age and would like to know more, please email volunteer@peterboroughsamaritans.org.
Are you looking for a career where you can make a difference? At Cross Keys Homes, we work with our local communities to create opportunities that change lives. We're looking for enthusiastic, talented people to join our team, from apprenticeships to senior management positions. Cross Keys Homes can support your development while you enjoy great employee benefits. There are so many opportunities for you to shine. Apply to join the Cross Keys Homes team at crosskeyshomes.co.uk.
You could be driving, you might be cooking, you could even be working. But whatever you're doing, you're also listening to Salam Radio. And if you're in business, your potential new customers could be listening too. So talk to them and let them know what you have to offer. Advertising on Salam Radio is affordable and effective. And by doing so, you're also supporting this valuable and important voice within the community. Call 07866 319 679 or find Salam Radio online and across social media.
you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Salam alaikum, good evening, and welcome back to the second half of the Property Wise Property Show. I'm your host, Kieron Bateman. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend.
Shaz Nawaz, and assalamu alaikum.
Good evening, and we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts
As always.
on what we were just discussing before the break, on the difference between a positive growth mindset and a stuck in the mud fixed mindset. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you do want to get in touch with the studio, you can call us on 01733 602 133, or you can text us on 07411 191 062, or you can comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. So lots of ways to get in touch, and feel free to please use them. I look forward to hearing from you.
We love engagement and questions.
Oh, really do. So this half of the Property Wise Property Show, we're going to head more into the realm of property.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
But also the state of the economy within property, because there's been a lot of talk about price increases, interest rises. You can't go 2 weeks in the news without hearing about another inflationary rise or another interest rise or something. And there are a lot of people that are out there going, it's not fair. I'm paying more now for my mortgage. I'm paying more for this. I'm paying more for that. And how am I supposed to survive? And okay, I'm a business. I remember now. I'm a business owner, so I'm going to increase my prices because that's a capitalist society. The government increases my prices. I increase your prices. The consumer pays the higher price. Okay, cool. Everyone understands that. Nobody complains too much that the prices in Tesco's have gone up 6% in the last year or whatever it is. I don't know the exact percentage, so don't quote me on that. I'm just using it as an example.
Do you mean you don't know how much a pint of milk costs?
I don't drink milk.
You don't take milk and coffee out there?
Yes. I can tell you how much coffee has gone up.
A lot.
But I can't tell you how much milk has gone up.
You've got 2 coffee makers now, I hear.
No.
Yeah?
No.
You have a coffee maker and another coffee maker which you might not be working properly?
Yes, I've got a broken coffee maker.
Which you'll fix, I'm sure.
Which I
do.
I'm working really hard to try and fix.
So you got 2 coffee makers?
In theory.
More coffee for you then.
More coffee.
Yeah.
But all of these interest increases, when it gets down to the consumer, a lot of consumers will complain and say, well, why don't you as the business owner absorb the cost? Why is it fair that I should pay the cost? And why is it fair that they should pay the cost, Shaz?
Because generally speaking, a business is there to survive. So quantitative easing, i.e. printing money, has its downsides.
Yes, it does.
And it usually comes after people experience some of the upsides, because what goes up must come down. Highs and lows, ebbs and flows, as you know. So printing money and handing out money not so long ago has its after effects. And I believe inflation is one of those right now, and has been for some months. And I mean, Economics 101 tells us to control inflation or bring inflation down, interest rates go up. Okay, and that works to some extent, and but it isn't working like we were told it's working. So around about this time last year, well, maybe just a bit later, maybe August, September time, just before that disastrous mini budget.
Yeah.
Okay, which really hurt a lot of people, especially in the world of property, because that's the first time I'd heard of it, but the first time I actually saw, lenders pulling out on the day of completion. Even in 2007, 2008, when I was around, we didn't see it like this, pulling out last minute. If there were, none of my clients experienced it. Here, on the day, we had lenders pull out. Sorry, criteria changed.
That's scary.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're heading towards 5%, and it'll be 6%. 6.5, might even be 7. And when we get there, it might be even more. And unlike 07, 08, and even the late 80s, because we were at, I think we were, if my memory serves me correctly, I was young then, in maybe 86, 87, we were at 7% interest, 7.5, something like that. This is going to be a slow, painful death for people. So interest rates are going to go up slowly. I mean, they're going up quickly, but by a 0.25%, okay, or quarter percentage points. And it's going to hurt people a lot. And I think from the stats that I've read, around about 85% or thereabouts, I'm not quoting the exact figure, but let's just say 3/4 to be on the safe side, are on fixed rate mortgages.
Yep.
The others, okay, I think it's about 15%, but let's just say a quarter to be on the safe side, okay, 25% are on variable. So as those fixed rates expire and the new fixed rates go up, or they go on variable rates or whatever they end up doing, it's going to cause a lot of people a lot of pain. And that's going to take 1, 2, 3 years, because some people fixed their mortgage, let's say a year ago, on a 3 or 4 or 5 year fixed. They've got 3 or 4 years 3 or 4 years to go. So I think it's going to be a few years of a lot of pain, Kieran. In terms of to answering your question, without going too much into bonds and gilts and the economy, because we're more focused on property than we are that type of stuff, but that obviously affects everything. What we saw when George Osborne had a clear attack on property investors by adding section 24, where you can't claim all your finance costs, stamp duty, land tax, taking away wear and tear relief, taking away lettings relief, making changes to principal private residence relief, and many others. By the way, I've got a whole list you won't be surprised to hear.
I think it's about 72 items long, isn't it?
A long list, yeah. And people said, oh, this is doom and gloom and the whole thing's dead. And I said at the time, and I'll say it again today, landlords are going to have to increase their rents. And we've seen that, okay? A property that was being rented for £600, let's just say, 8 or 9 years ago, pre the George Osborne attack, is now going for £950 or £1,000.
Yeah.
And that same property, as the costs go up, will go for £1,100, £1,200, £1,300. So it's going to really shrink the budget for those people who can't afford to pay their rents already. But there's nothing that can be done about it, because if a landlord doesn't repay their debt or their mortgage, monthly mortgage, okay, their property may get repossessed after a certain number of months. So they don't have a choice. In fact, if that happens, that particular tenant becomes homeless, so it's not good for either party. So what do? You have to increase your rents to recoup your costs. It's just business 101, I'm afraid, Kieran.
But if you're going to increase my rents, Shaz, then I need to get paid more, because if my rent's going to go up from £600 to £1,000, that's a £400 increase. I don't have that as disposable money, so I now need a job that pays more.
Yep. So you have to go to your employer and see if there's anything available there. That employer will then have to go to all their customers and clients and patients and see if they can increase the stuff there, so that everybody increases, and it's just circular economy, isn't it? And then at the end, is anybody better off? No. In this particular situation, because everybody's facing rising costs, and they increase their prices, and then now the prices have been increased, and let's talk about you as a tenant, which you're not, but just use as an example, okay? So now you've gone to your employer to ask for a pay rise, and your employer runs a local shop, let's just say. The shop's prices increase, so when you go in there to buy something, you're paying more. Yep. When you're buying other goods, okay, they've all gone up more, because those people, okay, also have tenants working for them, and they've asked for a pay increase. So even though you've got a pay increase to help you pay for your rent, the other part of the increase, if there is any, pays for all the increases in all the other products and goods that you're buying. So you're no better off, and in fact you might even be worse off, even with the pay increase.
Yeah, and I mean, and overall, throughout all of this, and as a country as a whole, not just the property industry, but every industry that is UK centric, is globally valued less, because it costs more to do business within, and that's how the value of the pound is gradually diminishing globally.
See, too much happened too soon. So you had what people don't talk about, and we're just talking about history here without sharing an opinion, because we don't know that often share opinions because we're just here to share information.
Yeah.
But there's no harm in sharing an opinion either, by the way. I think it's verified, valid. Is you had Brexit,
Yep.
okay? Then you had COVID. Then you had all the money spent after COVID. And then you've got the war in Ukraine. Now, some people will point you towards one of those 3 or 4 things and say, oh, it was all to do with COVID, or it was all to do with quantitative easing and all the money we handed out, or it's all to do with Brexit, or it's all to do with the war in Ukraine. And it's usually the one that people will point towards is the one that they'll dislike the most.
Yep.
So people who aren't Brexiteers will say, okay, it's to do everything to do with Brexit. Those who don't like Russia, oh, it's all to do with Ukraine. Okay, those who are anti-lockdowns, okay, and that type of thing. And there's some mileage in what those people are saying, and I'm not here, sharing an opinion on any of those today. I might do at some other point, but today we're talking about this property, okay?
I mean, let us know if you want our opinions on these things.
Yeah, if someone wants to hear my opinion, I'll happy to share. And they'll say, okay, it's those lockdowns that have come back to haunt us now. Too many lockdowns, not done at the right time. The border should have been shut earlier, okay, so we could have controlled it better. And all of those are valid arguments to some extent. Which one is it that's causing the most pain? I don't know. Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the time, in these things, the economy is non-reactive, but it's super reactive. It doesn't happen overnight.
It shows you the after effects, consequences later, not at that time.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So the consequences of anything happening are always big, but that's what I mean by super reactive. But they're non-reactive because if I reach across the desk and decide to get aggressive with Shaz, there's going to be an instant, definitive reaction. Shaz is going to react straight away.
Yes, I'll give you a nice hug. You're right.
Exactly. Whereas if and that's not the way the economy works. Whereas if, for example, I reached over the table and got aggressive with Shaz, and Shaz doesn't do anything for another year, but he just stores it. Do you remember that time you got aggressive? Well, now it's time to pay the piper.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, I heard once.
Yeah, but I like hot food.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, my point is that the economy is non-reactive in terms of when something happens, it stores it in its back pocket to use for a rainy day, and then it brings it out a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and you'll still feel the impact of it. I mean, to a certain degree, up until 2016, 2015, we were still feeling the after effects of the 2008 property crash.
Yeah, because that came in and went type of thing. It came pretty quickly with the Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all of those big players, JP Morgan, okay? It came in and I think 2010/11, we were then kind of moving back towards some form of normality, whatever normality may be. This one's going to be slow and painful. So the downward spiral is going to be really slow. So compare it to slow torture.
Yeah.
So we're going to feel every single time it declines and it goes down. Every 0.25% that goes up and the heat rises. I'm talking about interest rates, okay? More and more people are going to feel it even more. And I think people talk about V and a U in terms of recession and recovery. I think we could to some extent say 0708 was like a V to some extent. Okay, this is more like going to be a deep U, I think.
Yeah, and I think another fundamental that people almost take for granted and almost forget is, we'll take petrol prices, for example. I remember when petrol prices were below £1.
I remember them, I think, when they were less than 50 pence.
Right? And gradually they go up. Now, there was that big spike where they went up to like £1.50, £1.60, and there was a lot of pain involved in that.
You mean recently?
Yeah.
I swear, I think I was going to Leeds or somewhere. I think it was £2.05.
Right, so they kept out, but there was a lot of pain and a lot of kickback about that. And then it came down, and it now in some place. I mean, I've seen it at 155, locally to Peterborough. But pre that painful £2 a litre, it was £1.20, £1.25. How have we jumped up another 25 pence a litre and nobody's mad about it? The reason nobody's mad about it is because there was a real big pain in the £2. Then they brought it down a bit, and they only brought it down to the point where people stopped complaining.
Yep.
And that's and the petrol industry is not unique in this fact. Interest rates, or the government will react based on what the people say. As long as they know the people are going to be unhappy about it, but incremental increases are far easier to stomach than big increases.
Of course, yeah.
But if the end goal is a 5% increase, for example, to be consistent, then they'll have that mapped out on a 5-year plan, for example. Gradual increases. We'll increase it 0.25% here, let you get used to it. Make that 0.25% increase become normal. Then we'll increase it again. Then we'll increase it by 3%. Drop it by 2%, because then you'll feel like you've got a deal.
Yeah, you might feel you're a bit better off after you've seen the high increase. And then on top of that, of course, you've got all of the costs going up for property investors. More houses need to be built. Not enough houses are being built. So that's going to cause a problem. And the houses are not selling as fast as they were 12 months ago. That's slowing down. So the demand is still there. The supply is going to contract. Okay, the rents are going to go up. The costs are going to go up. You can see the perfect storm coming here.
Oh,
the signs are there. As Steve Jobs said, when you look back, you can connect the dots. But we can look forward and see what happened in the past and connect the dots going forward. So I think it's time for people to really buckle up and tighten their belts and start becoming very, very cost conscious and cut wherever they can.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you look at it, the train that we're on is not sustainable. You cannot consistently make it so that it's so hard for people to purchase properties, whether it's for a business or whether it's for their private residence. People really struggle. And people have struggled for a long, long time to get on the property ladder. That's been a thing for the past 20 years. How do young people get on the property ladder these days? You've got 30, 40-year-olds living at home with their parents because they just can't afford to get on the property ladder. Okay, fine. So that problem is going to get worse because the cost of interest is going to be so high that it's going to make getting a mortgage harder. It's going to make saving harder because the cost of everything else has gone up. But do your wages automatically go up with inflation? No, they do not. In some places, it may be for example, in some industries or some workplaces, you may get a 2% pay rise, 3% pay rise, and think, great, I've got a pay rise, this is fantastic. But when you actually look at it, interest rates have gone up 7%. So you've taken a 4% pay cut. Equivocal. But you've still got to live. You've still got to do everything else you were doing before. So you're going to have less money to go around. So more people are going to find it harder to get within the property industry on that sense. But it also means that because the cost of that's going to go up, back to capitalism 101, the cost of buying a house, owning a house is going to go up. The cost of renting a house is going to go up. It's simple economics.
So should people still invest in property?
Yes.
Why?
Because I think property is the best business in the world.
I agree.
I think you can make a loss on one property and make a profit on another property and still break even. But property is...
It can make and break, yeah.
Yeah, it can. But property is not a short-term game. It's a long-term game.
You mean I can't get rich quick?
No. I mean, you can if you get real lucky.
All those books I've read and all those YouTube videos, they've been misleading me, have they?
I think...
Or some of them, at least, anyway.
I think I define quick.
Like overnight, like 6 months, I'm driving a banger, then I'm in a Ferrari, I'm in a 2-bedroom house, and then an apartment, and then I'm in a 6-bedroom mansion type of thing.
So, I'm going to let you into a little secret,
with my
listeners.
own private jet, helicopter, that type of stuff, no?
I'm going to let you into a little secret, listeners. That is theoretically possible, but not on your own.
But practically, yeah.
But not on your own. If I did, for argument's sake, let's do, our favourite, my favourite property strategy, Shaz's favourite property strategy, commercial conversion. If I had a JV partner that was willing to put in all the funds, and we worked together, I did all the work, he did, and I managed it, and all the rest of it, and everything's all above board and stuff, and we're set to make, it's a big enough conversion. There's one that's recently been finished that you know about that's worth, there's a 7-figure, payout at the end of that. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, suddenly, yes, that's 18 months, 2 years. Yeah, it's doable. In theory.
But you can work towards it.
But you can work towards it. If you're being more realistic, 18 months, 2 years, you can replace your day job.
Quite easily.
Well, that's...
Yeah, if you're earning anywhere up to, I'd say, 50, 60 grand a year, you can replace that quite easily. If you're earning
quite easily.
$250,000.
Yeah.
Not so easily, but you can do 2 or 3 deals and then replace it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your second and third one will be better than the first one usually.
Yeah.
And it's all possible. So I think you're right. It's still a good time to invest in property.
Yeah.
You just got to be a bit more cautious, a bit more sensible. Okay, sharpen the pencil a bit more.
Yep. And I think when you look at it long term, and rather than looking at this short term wins, you look at the long term. If you can weather the storm, and we know the oncoming storm is going to happen, there's nothing we can do about it, but we can prepare for it, and we can make sure that we can weather it. You weather the storm, property is still going to go up in value long term. So whilst you will have cash flow from rentals now, which is what will keep you afloat and which will keep you going now, and and I'm not saying be a vindictive landlord and well, I expect to make double what I was making last year, so your rent's going to double. I'm not talking about being unreasonable. You can be reasonable, but you've got to be reasonable within the interest rates and the economy that we live in. So you become reasonable. Okay, fine. You're still you still have a good business at the end of it. You're not going to be making Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg sort of money. No, you're not.
Most property investors don't, do they?
But most
don't want that.
But very few people do make that sort of money. But if you can sit on that business for the next 20 years and then have an exit strategy, very important that, and maybe we'll do an episode on why exit strategies are important and what exit strategies you can put in place. I'll take a note. We'll do that one week. Then that exit strategy allows you to exit your business cleanly, neatly, efficiently, or maybe pass on the business to the next generation and create a generational business, legacy business. But over the next 20 years, 30 years, what's the state of the economy going to be in 20 years, Shaz?
Ask me in 19 years' time. Or ask me what happened 20 years ago. And then the cycle repeats itself, of course. But you're right. And right now, always because there's less demand than there was in terms of people wanting to buy property, in the sense that investors, I'm not talking about first-time buyers or people looking to change their home or replace their home or get another property ladder. Investors now are being more cautious, okay? So what will happen is that therefore there'll be more deals on the go. And if you've got your finances in order and you want your cash and your deposit or your JV partner or whichever strategy that you're using, okay, then there's some good deals to be had.
Very good deals to be
had.
had.
And as you know, the really smart people make more money during a downturn than they do when the market's going up.
Oh, as somebody once said, anybody can make money when the market's going well. Takes a different type of class of person to make money when the market's going bad.
Yeah, someone once said to me, buying some properties and renting them out on their own doesn't make you a good businessman or business person or intelligent. Anybody can do that. But creating a property business that gets you freedom and creating it in the slickest way possible, a systemized process, that's where it takes some smart person to see an opportunity and make it work. And I think they were right.
Yeah, I would go with that. I think just to, square that circle, just remember that if you don't feel that you're capable of doing that, listen to our mindset and, improve your mindset, because you probably can do that. Everyone's capable of doing it.
Of course they can.
But also,
and they ought to. Because
yeah.
we do that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't know everything. And,
No.
we work on a mindset, we're reading books, listening to audios, podcasts, or so on and so forth.
But also, get the people in your power team that can do it. Because, Shaz, 3,000 business growth consultations over, the man knows a thing or two, but he doesn't know everything. But he can point you in the direction of the people that do know the things he doesn't know. So it all ties in together into a nice, neat little package about, personal growth, mindset, and how to move on. And on that note, that's about all the time we've got for. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.